CB. So formerly I worked in CCGs before we all came together. I have worked across contracts, management accounts, financial accounts, done a bit of BI, kind of bounced around really. So yeah, that's a bit of my background. This session's in for an hour, but I really doubt it'll take an hour, so you might get some time back before the end of it. It's a really simple concept, so I've tried to make it a bit more interesting with the presentation because there's not really that much to kind of talk about. So feel free to pop your questions in the chat. I'll have a limited view of what I can see in terms of you guys raising your hands or asking questions, so feel free to jump in, and there'll be time at the end as well. Okay, so I will get started. That's all right. So first of all, insanity. We do this so many times. How many times have we tried to communicate with our budget holders, tried to communicate with somebody and just done the same thing over and over again, thinking, well, this is so simple, why are you not getting it? Like, and expecting them to magically kind of understand what we're talking about, but it's not quite that simple. So why do we keep doing those insane things? And how does this come into it? So innovation is about applying a different process, doing new techniques, and ideas to create new value. So that's the bit that I want you to kind of focus on, is the value and the value adding, and that's really what innovation is about. So the problem we encountered was, say, non-finance staff. They have responsibilities, but they're not subject experts. That's our job. So lots of them just really don't like numbers, loathe MS Excel. So you show them formulas in Excel, you show them pivot tables, and they really don't like them. We love them, they don't so much. But when it comes to some matters which are really complex, and trying to explain that to our budget holders, that's our duty as finance professionals, is to help support them to make informed decisions, and they can't do that if they don't understand what on earth we're talking about. So we had that with payroll, a payroll issue, and any of you who have dealt with any payroll issues will know that, you know, it's not just one size fits all, unless, you know, gender for change is somewhat different, but there isn't a one answer for everybody. But this can apply to more than just payroll. So let's have a little look. So for those of you that are familiar with payroll, will know that there's the employee factors. So you'll have, first of all, what's the salary, what's the rate? You'll have the employee tax, national insurance, if they have salary sacrifice, such as childcare vouchers or maybe a cycle to work scheme. If they're in a pension, and that might be NHS pension, it may be an alternative provider, student loan deductions, and anything else if they're applicable. And then there's the employer's element. So the NI, tax, NI, pension, what we pay over. So they are variables in themselves, and then there are variables within those variables. So it depends on your tax code, thresholds, whether you have multiple employments, whether you're a gender for change, not. Are you on a sessional rate? Are you IR35? Are you employed? You know, pensions have variable percentages based on your annual salary, income, and there are, say, this is different to everyone it applies to. And then it depends on how you do your payroll. So we do it through ASR. I'm assuming most people do, but you know, we had issues then with trying to apply some of the methodologies on ESR. So a methodology that was agreed was to pay an all-encompassing sort of rate, similar to if somebody had invoiced and said, right, I'm going to be paid £320 a session, I will send you the invoice and I will deal with all of the employee elements myself. And, you know, maybe they'll do the employer bits, whatever else. I mean, IR35 is now, you know, has changed all of that. But essentially, if somebody sends an invoice, you can quite easily say, yep, paying you 320 quid, nice, done, dusted. However, when it comes to trying to transact that on ESR, it doesn't let you say, I want to pay this individual, I want it to cost me a total of £320. It says, right, put in what their salary is, and we will apply all of the employer costs to it. So that was a bit of a sticking point with our non-finance staff, to try and help them understand that what goes on an invoice doesn't translate well to ESR. So as an accountant, as it says, naturally, my first course of action, let's put together a beautiful MS spreadsheet and let's show the world of how it does not work. And so, yeah, went through it all, showed them this, talked them through it. And yeah, this was during lockdown. I was new to the organisation. Telling them what they had firmly believed was the right action to do was completely and utterly wrong. And everything was over MS Teams, emails. You know, we hadn't had that relationship to begin with. Didn't really go too well. Okay, it got back to that frustration and that, why you keep telling me things that I don't understand? So needed to find another way of getting this across, because I knew it was wrong. I knew it was something that we had to kind of address. And at the end of the day, it sits with those budget holders. It's not for finance to determine this is going to be the salary. And, you know, for it to go through to remuneration committees, etc. So I needed to find a different way of getting this message across. At the time, it was lockdown, so I was working at home. My son and daughter were very young at the time, so they were homeschooling, and, you know, I won't bring it up. I'm sure it was traumatic for quite a few of you at home who had children too. But yeah, I was helping my son with his homework and using one of his favourite bits, Lego, which I'm fiddling around in the background with. And I kind of thought, well, I'm sure I could use this to try and get my point across. So I did. So I took a different view of it, and instead of the massive spreadsheet, I came up with this kind of concept, and I did it using Lego blocks in meetings. So in the meeting, I would sit, and I might have different colours here for this one, but still proves the point of kind of holding up and saying to people, right, this is what you would pay. This is what you would pay in an invoice, but on ESR, that is then not exactly the same. It will translate into different values because you've got to add on these things. So, I mean, I won't go through it too much because hopefully it's pretty self-explanatory. And you know what? The penny dropped. It was amazing. It started to make sense. And I think some key things of that were we'd taken out most of the numbers, simplified it, and kind of said, you know, I didn't go really, really techie and say, right, this is the scale and, you know, this is this proportion. It was just the concept. Yeah, you can go techie, you can, you know, build Taj Mahal, whatever you want to do. But I just kept it dead simple. So what I wanted to do is to kind of demonstrate that it's not just payroll, it's not just finance kind of things. So I wanted to ask you guys how your chemistry knowledge is. Mine's abysmal, so don't, you know, I Googled these. I'm not this great at chemistry. But if we were to use Lego to say, right, okay, imagine that is a molecule and we are going to look at compounds, how much more interesting would it have been in school to have had Lego blocks or something to visually kind of see? And, you know, there are so many different ways of learning. Some people are visual, some people, you know, like to talk through, some people are very touchy-feely with things, tactile. Anyway, I'm a bit rusty on those, but, you know, we all learn in our different ways. I'm very visual, in case you hadn't noticed. But yeah, if we'd looked at the first one, so 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen, this, you can be interactive if you choose to. You can pop your answers in the chat if you want to, but okay, don't all blow me away at once. And then and then the second one is 2 hydrogen and 1 carbon. There will not be bonus points if you get it right. There will not be penalties if you get it wrong. But first one is water and the second one is methane. But yeah, just a simple demonstration. And I mean, I don't know whether you've seen, there's that teacher somewhere in I think it's Texas or something. She does like these crazy experiments with the kids that really brings things to life. You know, takes these complex scientific, you know, models and theories and things that they need to learn within education, but does it differently. She's great. I'll try and find the name and send that through. But that's pretty much my presentation, all 10 minutes of it or whatever. But my innovation is published up on the top there. So you don't need to be a hero, you don't need to have Lego, you don't need to have anything fancy. You just need to connect with your audience. You just need to add that value. So if you can, be an expert, be innovative, and add value where you can. And just as a disclaimer, you can use other blocks, not just Lego. And that's it. That's me done. It's so simple. There's not really a lot for me to talk about. So I shall stop sharing somewhere. And then, because it was so complex, you know, I'm expecting 3,000,001 questions or any feedback, anything at all. Please. Becky, Natasha, sorry, are you still there?
I'm still here, yeah.
Yay! So, yeah, short, sweet. Anything anybody wants to say or ask or... Hello, is it Kaiser? Apologies.
Hi. No, that's all right, Claire. Hi, it's Kasia actually.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. That's all right. Like you say, short and sweet and really simple. I just wanted to ask, what was kind of like the feedback, the reaction from your audience, I guess? You know what I mean? I have certainly seen the trend towards less Excel is better. So just wanted to hear, did you have anyone that was negative about it actually, or was it all more or less positive?
It was all positive, to be honest. I'd say it was more about trying to get the concept of why what we were trying to do wouldn't work, and demonstrating that in numbers just wasn't getting the message through. So changing it to the blocks relayed the message. Now, it didn't solve the ultimate problem on its own as to, well, what should that number be? That still had to be modelled through, but it was the concept of, okay, well, do you understand that if you apply that methodology, you're not going to come out with the answers that you think you are, and this shows you. So it wasn't something to be used in isolation and give you all the solutions, but it's a good way of agreeing the concepts to then move forward and go into the detail with the people who need to be involved in the detail. But they had that buy-in of the process, and that was critical really to agreeing on a final rate. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Does that answer everything for you? Did you?
Yeah, I think like you say, the crucial bit is around getting the buy-in from the audience, isn't it? And you kind of need to go at the level that they will understand, not to say that they won't understand the Excel spreadsheets, but you can get into that rabbit hole of explaining the process to the nth degree almost, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, we'd end up then in meetings where people were like, get your Lego out, let's show us how you do that again, and let's go through this. And it was really repetitive, but I think it was so much more fun than arguing and going through formulas and spreadsheets that they really didn't understand. So that was the big thing for me. And then because I was able to communicate the message and the principles that they understood, it built up our trust. It changed those relationships then. So yeah, it really did make a difference for us. Yeah. Anybody else? I mean, I'd love to have an annual report or, end of year presentation at the AGM of just like Lego bricks everywhere and just, finance isn't fun most of the time. So bring a bit of colour, bring a bit of joy. But if you are dealing then with know your audience as well, if you're dealing with people who may be colourblind or anything else, you can just use grayscale blocks. You don't have to have loads of different colours. They're all shapes and sizes. Yeah, but whatever it may be, doesn't even have to be Lego. Is that okay? And I even then, when I was trying to think of how to put it in for the remuneration report, I then turned to the beloved Excel and coloured in some blocks in Excel. So you can still wiggle your way into Excel if you want to, but yeah, it's optional. So any other questions or feedback or anything at all? It's a very simple one. It's not a highly tech, but I suppose that's one of the big messages to kind of show you guys. There doesn't have to be you've implemented some AI and robotic processes and you've done something really fandangly and amazing. You just need to add value. That's it. Do something different. That's it for me.
Thank you. Thank you, Claire. This is going to be recorded and it will set up on our YouTube channel. So if anyone in your trust has missed this today, I think it would be useful for anyone, then they can watch it as well. I'm just going to pop in the chat now some other showcases that we've got going on in February if you wanted to book onto them. But other than that, if anyone's got any last minute questions, we can draw it to a close. Thank you so much, Claire.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Claire.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks. Take care. Bye. Bye.